Double Play Sports. I'm James alongside Pat. Welcome to episode 33, where we will be giving you our free agency predictions. Not too many moves since the free agency started last night at 5. We saw Diaz and Robert Suarez get extensions and Clayton Kershaw get a 1-year extension with the Dodgers. And also we learned that the Astros are parting way with GM James Click for news around the majors. But let's start off with an exciting one, Jacob deGrom. As Mets fans, this is painful to do, but where do you think deGrom will end up this offseason?
Yeah, I want to say he's coming back to the Mets. I want to say it. I don't think it's realistic. I think it's too much money for the Mets. I think it's not the team Jake. I don't know. I was gonna say I don't think it's the team Jake wants to play for anymore, but I don't think that's true. I think if he could, he still would like to be a Met, but I don't think it's unrealistic to think the contracts that each side would want are gonna match.
Yeah.
I just go with the wave here. I think he's gonna be a Texas Ranger.
I think that's where he's going to end up as well. I think 4 years, 180 million for 45 a year is probably what he's going to get, which would make him the highest paid player in baseball. Which I think if Scherzer got 43.3, I think he'll get that. And the Rangers have money to spend. They want to spend it on pitching. Their pitching last year was atrocious, but their hitting looks like it's almost ready to compete. So I think solidifying a good pitching staff is going to be their number one focus. How about Carlos Rodon? Back-to-back All-Star appearances. Where do you think Rodon signs long term?
Yeah, Rodon, I had a couple options, one of them being a reunion,
Yeah.
and there's only one place that could be, that's Chicago. I think that rotation with Rodon back in it, I mean, you could say it's just what it was a couple years ago, but now Kopech is in that rotation, and I mean,
Dylan Cease is a Cy Young candidate, so
yeah, Dylan Cease is much more than he was just
mhm.
a few year ago, even though he was very good then too, don't get me wrong. Otherwise, I think Detroit.
Mhm.
Detroit, even if they get Rodon, I would love their pitching staff, but their offense is just really rough, really, really rough. Um,
Yeah,
they have a lot of young guys in that offense, and they're just not good. Like, they're just not good yet. Whatever. Tampa Bay is my third choice. I love that choice
ooh,
a lot. I would love that rotation. You would then have, barring another injury, you would have Glasnow. Don't make me forget this now. Glasnow, Rasmussen, Baz, Rodon, and somebody
McClanahan.
else really, really good, Shane
McClanahan.
McClanahan.
Yeah,
And I would love that rotation. I
absolutely.
mean, in my opinion, that rotation, regardless of what they do on the offensive side, maybe get something, but could win the division.
I think so, definitely. I think Rodon could end up in Detroit. I saw that. I thought about that a little bit. I think he could be a Met. I'd love to see him on the Mets. I think they are going to want to spend big on a pitcher to solidify their rotation if DeGrom doesn't come back. But I think eventually he will be a St. Louis Cardinal. I think the last few years they've really struggled with keeping pitchers healthy and having that rotation that they can really trust for a postseason run. And I think Rodon does that. I think on a 6-year, $150 million, maybe he gets a little bit more, but 25 a year, I think he makes a lot of sense for the Cardinals. Uh,
Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, obviously, I love Rodon for the Mets. That'd be
mhm.
spectacular. As far as the Cardinals go, I could definitely see it. The Cardinals, they don't have a lot of luck in free agency. That's not how they like to build their teams,
It's true.
you know? Uh,
Yeah.
I just don't know.
Next up, how about Justin Verlander? What a story. 2019 Cy Young winner, doesn't really pitch 2020, 2021, 2022 Cy Young winner in his age 39 season. But now you've got a guy
Whoa,
who,
whoa.
what?
Can't call that yet.
Oh, the likely 2022 Cy Young winner in his age 39 season. Now you've got a guy who's shown no signs of regression since he's joined the Astros. What are you going to give this guy and for how long? And do you think he goes back to Houston?
Yeah, I mean, what you're hearing on him, a lot of it is Houston, 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 which I happen to agree with. I think he will end up resigning. But because it just makes sense for him to finish his career there, really. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Uh, Ballot number 0, not even first ballot.
Yeah.
Um, and the other one you hear a little bit is the Mets, but really, I really think Billy Epler's a little too smart to do that. I don't think they want two guys on like 2, 3 year deals worth about, combined 90 million a year.
Yeah.
I just don't see that happening.
Yeah, I see him going back to Houston 2 years, 70 million, maybe 35 a year. Maybe he gets a little bit more. But it'll be interesting to see because this is kind of we've never in recent history seen a pitcher this late in his career perform so well. So it's a interesting, like you don't have 40-year-old guys putting up sub 2 ERA seasons. So it'll be interesting to
Yeah.
see what he gets. Next up, let's talk Chris Bassett. Had a great
Chris
year with the Mets this year, a great year with Oakland the year before. Kind of a reliable guy. Where do you think he's going?
Chris Bassett, I refuse to look at any other options that have him going back to the Mets.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I think if the Mets end up with Rodon, there's a world where a team like the Cardinals or the Blue Jays could try and sneak in. I think he makes sense for both of them, but I do think he will be on the Mets. I think 3 years, 20 million a year makes sense for him.
Yeah,
I
and I
think he really
think
enjoyed his time with the
I
Mets.
I th- I think he's a pretty sure thing. I'm very confident in him wherever he goes. Obviously like a guy like Matz that the Cardinals signed out of free agency didn't work out, like, things like
Yeah.
that. I don't think he's anything like that. He's a very sure thing wherever he goes. I think he could succeed on the Dodgers. I think he'd succeed on the Pirates.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Next up, how about another Met, Taiwan Walker? Let's see. I don't think it's a sure thing that he will be returning. I think it's very unlikely he'll be returning. Pat, where do you have Taiwan going?
Yeah, Taiwan Walker is a really interesting case to me. It was hard for me to like pick a spot where I could see him going and really, you know, succeeding and liking it there. He's a pretty unique personality. He's a unique pitcher as well. There's a lot of pitches, and he's really on and off. One day, and when I say that, I mean on and off, consistently good. You see
Mhm.
days where he'll throw 7 innings, he'll strike out one with no runs. You'll see days where he'll go five, strike out 12, and allow
Mhm.
3 or 4 runs. I mean, he's a little on and off like that. He's interesting, but I do think he might be a type of guy that because of our DeGrom names, our Rodon names, our Verlander names, gets pushed back a little bit. And towards the end of free agency, he signs with, in my opinion, I said San Francisco.
Ooh. Yeah, I could see the Giants. I think the Giants will be looking for a pitcher this offseason. What's interesting, though, is the Giants' rotation as it stands right now is not in bad shape at all. You've got Logan Webb, you've got Alex Cobb, who's a little bit older, but still a reliable guy. DeSclafani's definitely got something left in the tank. Same with Alex Wood. It's not fantastic. You've got Kyle Harrison, who's a top prospect. I think could be very good for them and not too far away. But yeah, I could see Taiwan ending up there. The team I have is a team that wants to make a splash because their team's slowly crumbling, but they can be big spenders, and that's the Boston Red Sox. I think the Red Sox will end up with Taiwan, I think on a 5 year deal worth about 15 a year because he's still only 29, which is crazy for how many years he's been a solid pitcher. But I could see Taiwan ending up in Boston. I think that makes sense for them a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely makes sense for them. I really don't think Boston has a very good baseball team. Obviously, lineup wise, they have like, three guys that are somewhat
And
of
is
a
that number
guarantee.
going to just keep going down and down? We don't know.
Like I see Devers is an offensive guarantee. I think after that, the closest thing you get to an offensive guarantee is Trevor Story,
Mm,
and then
Not a guarantee at all.
no, he's not. And then maybe Verdugo after that,
Yeah.
which we don't know. I do like Christian Arroyo a lot.
You're pushing it here.
I like him. No,
Yeah.
but here's what I'm gonna say. Guys like Pavetta, guys like Paxton, guys like Rich Hill as their 1, 2, 3. That's not gonna work.
No,
Same thing as Christian Arroyo as your starting second baseman. That's not gonna work.
no.
If Christian Arroyo is on the Seattle Mariners, he's a fantastic player. He's very useful to that team. He can play all over the place. As a starter, that's just not gonna work.
No, I agree. Next up, we have Tyler Anderson. Who would have thought we'd be talking about Tyler Anderson as a major free agent before the season? He kind of signed with the Dodgers last second to be pitching depth and finished the season as an all-star and possibly all MLB. Maybe not, obviously not on the first team, but he might get some votes to be on the all MLB.
Oh,
What?
you don't know that.
Maybe. I don't know. But he was given the qualifying offer. he's 33 years old, so I doubt he takes it at this point in his career because he can probably get like a 3-year deal somewhere. Where do you think that 3-year deal will be coming in?
Yeah, Tyler Anderson, I think, is a guy that teams should be going after, like teams that don't want to, because you don't have to spend that much on Tyler Anderson. Like you got to pay him, but it's less than half of what you have to pay the top guys.
Yeah.
Um, and a team that I really, really want him on is the Toronto Blue Jays.
Hmm.
Uh, they need a rotation piece.
Yeah.
Tyler Anderson, am I confident he's going to do it again? No. Do I want him to? Yes.
Yeah. So I've kind of gone in a little bit of a different route. I think there's a few teams that could be interested in him. I think the Blue Jays will definitely make a push for him because they're looking for that one extra guy to solidify the rotation. Because you don't know what you're getting from Jose Barrios. We saw that this year. That didn't obviously work out in year one. I could see the Minnesota Twins. They want to contend again next year, and they're missing like that rotation led by Sonny Gray, Joe Ryan. Like that's not gonna get you to the postseason.
Uh,
And
I agree. I think I mean, like, let's be completely honest here. I would love one of the top two guys to go to the Twins. I would
mhm,
love DeGrom or Verlander on the Twins
yeah,
because I feel a lot more confident if I have Verlander followed by Sonny Gray, followed by Joe
yeah,
Ryan. And then there are other guys interest me. Bailey Ober really interests me for this
maybe.
upcoming year. He does. He did not start that much this year, but in his starts, he was a quality starter. Obviously, injuries and uh playing poorly
Mhm.
has hurt Chris Paddock,
Mm,
but you never know what you're gonna get from him this year.
yeah.
You
No,
know?
another team because I didn't like it could be Minnesota. I think Tyler Anderson ends up on the Giants though. I think they will go out and get a starter, and I think Tyler Anderson makes sense for them. Because I mean he's not going to cost them too much, like you said, maybe 15, 16 a year. But I think he makes sense there. How about Kodai Senga? Top
Yeah,
PB pitcher we've seen in a long time, maybe since Masahiro Tanaka. Um, and I mean, he just looks like he's ready to come out and dish ridiculous stuff. He's got an amazing fastball and a ridiculous splitter. Where do you think Kodai Senga ends up?
yeah. So for Kodai Senga, I was looking over my options, like, where's he fit? Like, obviously he can fit anywhere,
Mhm.
but like, what's gonna make sense? Like, it's a little unpredictable coming from overseas sometimes.
Mhm.
Sometimes they're like, I want to play for the Yankees because they're the Yankees,
Yeah,
or a team like the Dodgers, Boston,
yeah,
etc. And then sometimes they end up on like
yeah,
the Diamondbacks. Like things get really random.
yeah.
Personally, what I would like to happen, not as a Mets fan, but as a fan of, oh my God, that would be ridiculous, is if because he's a very good starting pitcher that won't have to be paid, 25 million a
Yeah.
year, is the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Don't get me thinking about that because I think Kodai Sega could be a guy who's just a ridiculous MLB talent. And if he were to end up on the Dodgers, I think that might be the last straw for me. I think that's the end of my baseball watching career. But in all sincerity, I do think a team that would be really good for him is the Chicago Cubs. They want to contend, they want to spend this offseason. I don't have a lot of confidence they're going to be able to get one of the top shortstops, which I know they've been rumored around. And I think Kodai Senga could be a lot like more of a smart piece for them instead of spending all their money on one guy and kind of get a lot of solid pieces. And then how
hmm
about an ace to a rotation who had a 189 ERA in the NPB last year and looks like he's ready to put up very good numbers in the MLB. I think 5 years, maybe somewhere between 16 and 18 million a year. But I think the Cubs make sense for Senga.
Yeah.
Um,
I could see it. I could definitely see it. They obviously went after Seiya Suzuki last year. They're interested in the international market. So
For sure. How about Jamison Tyone? We didn't know we were going to see from him this year. He was very good at points, but also a little bit on and off at points with the Minnesota Twins. Oh, no, the New York Yankees. Well, you know where my prediction is. I have him going to the Twins on maybe like a 3 or 4 year deal worth 14 million. But Pat, where do you have Tyone going?
yeah, I think it's inevitable that the team we talked about earlier is gonna get one of the, above tier starting pitchers. I think a guy we're not going to talk about today, Noah Syndergaard, could end up here, but I think Jameson Taillon is going to end up with Boston because I think
Yeah.
somebody's going to end up there.
I think it will be Syndergaard or Taiwan Walker. I think one of them ends up in Boston. I thought Carrasco might at one point, but now he's coming back to the Mets.
Yeah.
Another team maybe is the Kansas City Royals. They just said today their GM was like, "Hey, we want to go and get a top pitcher." I don't think they're going to get one of the top pitchers, but Jameson Taillon's not a bad consolation prize. Um,
Yeah, here's my issue with the Royals is I could see them giving Jameson Taillon like 22 plus $1 million a year.
Bad
And
idea.
that's not what you want to do. And when you look at their rotation, obviously Brady Singer has been successful so far, he's going to be good.
Yeah.
Then you have Chris Bubick and Daniel Lynch, who are
Mm,
two lefties that are young that you can't really keep out of your rotation this year,
yeah.
but like they're just they're not there.
You
They
got
could
Asa
get
Lacy
there,
on the way. Hey.
another lefty.
Yeah.
Um, but and then you have Brad Keller, who is, things aren't
Not
working out for Brad Keller.
no, no, not necessarily.
But
Yeah.
you know, maybe Brad Keller can like I don't know, go to the Angels.
That can be their pitcher for the
Sounds
year.
like something they would do.
Yeah, oh, definitely. How about next up, Nathan Eovaldi? Kind of surprisingly, he was given a qualifying offer. Is there a world where he takes that, or is there a world where he signs somewhere else, or maybe back in Boston on a longer deal? Where do you think Eovaldi's going?
Yeah, you could definitely see him back in Boston because obviously they re-signed him after the 2018 run when he was so good, and
Mhm.
he's been successful with them after that.
Yeah.
And obviously has flown very under the radar. Doesn't help that the Red Sox stink, but
Mhm.
um, the team I have him end up going to is a team I think needs another starter because the back of the rotation is a little weak. Not that Eovaldi's a back of the rotation guy, but in this rotation he would be, and that's the Padres. I would like
Ooh.
Eovaldi on the Padres. I think he kind of fits their scheme, like similar pitcher to Darvison Musgrove. There's a lot of different pitches in his mix. He can ramp it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Uh, I would like him in San Diego.
I think what you look for in a guy like Eovaldi is consistency, right? You've got a guy that you can trust to go out there. He doesn't walk a lot of guys. He strikes out a good amount. He's a solid pitcher. And I think the Red Sox would be stupid to let him go and not try to give him another offer if he declines the qualifying offer. But I think there's a lot of teams that could end up giving him a look. I think the Chicago White Sox maybe they definitely need another starter in the mix. I think the Padres were one of the teams I had listed down here. I think the Royals are a possibility. I do think the White Sox. I kind of flipped
Mm.
my answer here a little bit with some of the other things I had said and you had said, but I think the White Sox make a lot of sense for him as a back of the rotation kind of guy. For them, at least.
I, I do like that. I like that a lot. Um, I mean, that'll work for me. I mean, Cease, Kopech, Lynn, Giolito, and Eovaldi, obviously not in that order, but
That's a hell of a
that's a good
rotation.
rotation.
Yeah.
Your offense
We'll see.
worries me a little more, but yeah, like I don't know. We don't gotta go deep dive into the White
Yeah.
Sox.
Another time we'll just talk only about the White Sox. Let's finish off the pitchers with a guy who, once again, like Tyler Anderson, where did he come from? Martin Perez?
Yeah,
Bro, I forgot Martin Perez was on a major league team before the season. Then he pitches well enough to almost like he was one of the top pitchers in the first half. He was an all-star, of course, and finished out the year really strong too. Given the qualifying offer by Texas, I think it's kind of unlikely he takes that. But where do you have him going or coming back to Texas? How many years? What's the situation with Perez?
yeah, he's a really interesting guy. I think it'd be a good move for a contender, definitely. Because I mean, again, he's a guy you're not gonna have to pay like $1 billion. He's gonna say, "Hey, I'll take a little bit of a discount based off what I did last year, because for some extra years, give me my last big contract." And the
His
team,
first big contract too. Let's get that
that's true.
straight.
It's first and last big contract, and I think the Phillies could be a team that goes out and does that. Obviously they're connected to the shortstops. I mean, they just made a hell of a run. Um, I think I would, hey, if I'm a Phillies fan, you say you can sign three free agents and keep it under 60 million,
Hmm,
maybe.
yeah.
Um, give me Martin Perez, give me Dansby Swanson, and give me Kenley Jansen.
Whoa,
And
okay.
that I would like that Phillies team a lot.
Interesting. I have a little bit of a different route. I think the Rangers will end up bringing Perez back. They're going to spend on pitching, and he makes a lot of sense for them to bring back. He had a great year for them. He thrived with the team this year, even though the rest of the team did not thrive. I think 2 years, 35 million, 3 years, 45 million, somewhere in the mix of 15 to 18 a year for the next 2 or 3 years. Hey, guess what? It's time to move on to hitters. First up, let's start it off strong. Where's Aaron Judge going, Pat? Is he going to be a Yankee again?
Yeah, I gotta be honest. I really don't like how Aaron Judge fits into a lot of lineups. Like,
Interesting.
obviously, like I love how he fits into every lineup,
Hmm.
but specific ones, I don't see one that just jumps off the page like, oh yeah, that team can do that, and needs that or should do that. Ultimately, I wrote down the Yankees as going back. It really doesn't seem like that's gonna happen. He's being really weird about it.
Hmm.
I don't know why he's doing that. All year we've been like, oh, so you come back to the Yankees, and he's like, we'll see, and like that just doesn't make sense to me. Otherwise, I wrote down San Francisco because I'm not allowed to not write it down, apparently. And then the other team I actually like, and because their GM is a psychopath in a good way, and will spend the money, is the Padres.
Hmm. Whoa.
Yeah, I know, I
Don't even
know.
bring that up. That's just ridiculous. But I think the Giants are a team that could possibly be. I do have them going back to the Yankees. But here's a scenario where Chris Young, the Rangers GM, says, "Screw, we don't need any pitching. Let's get another bat. We don't need DeGrom. We don't need Martin Perez. We'll get Dane Dunning to throw 300 innings, old school 1900s baseball, the early 1900s baseball style, and
Got the name for it.
give me Corey Seager, give me Marcus Semien, give me Nathaniel Lowe, give me Adolis Garcia, give me whoever else, that Leody Taveras, Josh Jung, Jonah Heim, and give me Aaron Judge. But I do think it will be the Yankees. Um, how about Trey Turner?
Trey
Lot.
Turner, yeah, I really, the teams that are really involved with the shortstops, I don't love for Trey Turner. I do like a Dodgers reunion for him.
Mhm.
I think, it would make sense. I don't know why you wouldn't if you're the Dodgers. I mean, but besides that, a team that I just like that I wanted to happen, and I'm gonna get to talk about them a little now because I said I wouldn't earlier. That's the White Sox.
Mhm.
Um, because they their offense really stinks, okay?
Whoa, oh, whoa,
Yasmani
whoa, whoa,
No,
whoa,
no, no,
whoa.
I'm gonna talk about it. Let me talk
Okay.
about it. Yasmani Grandal stinks, okay? Um, right now they don't have a first baseman. I think probably Abreu's gonna walk. I don't know, maybe. I don't know. We're gonna see. So I think because they're god awful in the outfield, you have to move either Andrew Vaughn or Gavin Sheets. Please, Gavin Sheets, and ever that man should not be allowed to on the grass. Um, he's so bad defensively, but offensively and at first base, he's not terrible. No, he's good, but not terrible. Gavin Sheets should be playing first base. Stick Andrew Vaughn in left field. I don't care. Do whatever you want. Tim Anderson's good, obviously. Eloy and Luis Robert stay on the field. They're good. Besides that, the infield, Moncada, Danny Mendick, uh, you know, not like Danny Mendick. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So Trey
Okay.
Turner, you fit him in there. I'm telling you, that lineup is a lot different when you have, not to mention the speed, but also the bats of Trey Turner and Luis Robert leading off.
Yeah, no, that's a great look on that. I think there's a lot of teams that are going to be wanting a shortstop this offseason. And there's, in my eyes, four very good shortstops on the market. You got Turner, you got Correa, you got Bogarts, you got Swanson. Now, I think I think only one of those guys is going to remain and re-sign with one of his teams. And we'll get to him, but it's not going to, I don't think it'll be Trey Turner. It seems like all signs are pointing Trey Turner to the Phillies. And I really could see the Phillies. I think it will be the Phillies. But don't forget about the Chicago Cubs. Like I don't know. There's a part of me that just thinks Turner makes sense in the Cubs. But Turner even went out and said like, yeah, I'd have interest in playing with the Phillies. The Phillies want Trey Turner. Trey Turner has interest in going back to the Phillies. I think 8 years, about 30 to 32 million a year. I think he will be a Philly. As much as I don't.
Yeah, I disagree.
Mm,
I think the Cubs stink and they shouldn't sign him. And I don't think I think Dansby's a better fit for them.
okay.
I just that's just what I think. I would love no, I wouldn't. I would hate that, but baseball fan wise,
Yeah.
Dansby Swanson to the Phillies, I can deal with it.
Yeah. No, I think just what the as a Met fan, what we should do is just not let any of the good shortstops come to the division. They can all leave, go somewhere
You
else.
know, our divisions are actually off limits. Go to Washington if you want, but that's it.
Yeah. How about Carlos Correa? This is an interesting one because he was so good in 2021, and they're like, let's give him a long-term deal. And the Twins are like, how about 3 years? But you can only stay for one. He stays for one. He's fantastic, the best he's ever been in his career offensively. Defensively, not as great, but he's still a guy that you're going to give a long-term deal to right now. And what team will he be getting that with?
Yeah, my only issue with Carlos Correa is I don't think he fits perfect on a team. There's nowhere where he fits perfect. I think, you know, Trey Turner doesn't resign. I could see him on the Dodgers, but that's boring. I could definitely see Red Sox, but who cares? They stink. So the team I like, even though I know I just said they stink, is the Cubs.
Mhm.
Because I don't like Carlos Correa. I think the Cubs stink, so he can go hang out there.
Okay, interesting. Part of me is like, yeah, it'll definitely be a team like the Dodgers or like the Red Sox, like you mentioned, or even the Giants have gotten some mention in the world of shortstops. I think there's another team that's gonna piss a lot of people off. Not even piss a lot of
It's not
people off.
going to the Yankees.
No, I think Carlos Correa not piss a lot of people off. That was really poorly phrased. That's going to get a lot of people excited because this team's on the rise, and in a few years they're going to have
Not
one of
going
the
to
best teams in
Cleveland. Don't take
baseball.
Cleveland.
He's going to the Baltimore Orioles. Carlos Correa is going to be an Oriole. They've got a lot of shortstop talent. I think they can move some of those guys around. Get Gunnar Henderson at another position because Carlos Correa would be such a great piece for the Orioles, leading them for the future. No, nothing.
I don't see it.
No, I
I
think it
think
will be the
I
Dodgers, but
I think Carlos Correa is too socially aware of
mm,
how the MLB works that he wouldn't go to the Orioles. And
you never know.
I yeah, but I do.
Oh,
And just doesn't work for me.
okay. I do think it will eventually be the Dodgers, but the Orioles, don't forget about them.
Too
Xander
bad.
Bogaerts. I don't think it's going to be the Red Sox. Where's he going?
Xander Bogaerts, good at offense, terrible at defense.
Oh,
Need a
whoa, whoa, whoa,
shortstop.
whoa, whoa.
You
He had a
know,
very solid year defensively. He had 4 outs
I
above
don't
average.
care.
He's a becoming a better defender.
Good
He's
for
the
him. If he goes to this team, he'll forget. Go to the Phillies.
really wow.
I just don't
Okay.
like him anywhere else.
Hmm.
That's it. I
You know,
mean, you know
there's
where I
some
kind of like him?
where.
Kind of like him in Houston.
Hmm.
I don't know
At
where he's
what
playing.
position? At
I
what
don't know.
position of that
That's
infield?
their issue. That's not my problem.
I'll get it.
I
Okay,
just,
okay.
I just like him in the
In
Houston lineup.
in all
He can play
sincerity,
right field.
yeah.
No, you know what? Eh, Bregman can play first base. That's what I work
Nice.
with.
All right,
He'll be
all right.
fine.
You
Or
have uh,
Altuve doesn't know how to play second base anymore, does it now, right?
yeah.
Did we figure that out? He's got the yips or something. He'll play first.
Oh, okay. Yeah, put the 5'5" guy at first base. That's a great idea.
You don't got to be tall. You just jump.
All right, all right. Xander
Who's up next? Swanson.
I didn't get the same IPs on Bogarts yet. Don't skip me. You're on the time limit, timeout. There's two teams I think Bogarts could end up on. One of them is the Chicago Cubs. I do think they're going to get a shortstop. I think he makes sense for them. I know you're not a fan of this. I've been saying that for a while. The other team is a team that had a really great year this year. They don't want to make it another 21 years out of the postseason. They're going to sign a big name, I think, and that'll be the Seattle Mariners. JP Crawford doesn't cut it. He can't hit, he can't field anymore. They're going to need someone to lock up the middle of that infield long term. And I think Xander Bogarts could be a guy. He's got a lot of postseason experience. He's a great team leader, as we've seen. They're paying him for what he's done and what he can do. And I do think he will end up on the Seattle Mariners.
Now, Dansby Swanson's going to resign with the Braves. Yeah,
Yep,
your
I
turn.
got him there too. 22 a year. Brandon Nimmo.
Brandon Nimmo's going to resign with the Mets.
I think
I don't want to
6
hear
years,
anything else.
6
All
years,
right.
120. He's going back to the Mets.
Next,
Wilson Contreras.
Wilson Contreras. Okay, we can go back to normal. Wilson Contreras, he's a catcher. That's a hot commodity. But a lot of teams do have starting catchers. I was looking at today. It's kind of weird. Like, like a lot of them aren't that good, but like they're serviceable.
Yeah.
But a team that doesn't, and well, you know what I'm gonna say, it's the Cardinals.
Ooh,
What do you mean? Ooh, how'd you
that's
not know I was
interesting.
gonna say that?
Okay.
Cardinals. He signs with the Cardinals. He's good at offense. He throws the ball hard. He can work with their. I don't. It does worry me a new catcher going into that pitching staff after all
Yeah.
this time with Molina, but I think Contreras will be fine. You just throw the ball at him, he'll catch it. Yeah.
All right, here's a pitching staff that I'm not worried about no matter who the catcher is. That's the Houston Astros. I think they're the favorite to get him right now. They really don't have a catcher because Jason Castro is not coming back. Martin Maldonado is 70 years old, and Corey Lee, unless we're playing MLB The Show 21 franchise mode, is not a long-term catcher. And I
Okay.
think
Corey Lee is a first round draft pick.
that's true. No, I'm just joking. I think Corey Lee could be a great catcher for them. But it seems like Contreras is going to get paid from everything I've seen and read. It seems like he's going to be getting about 20 to 22 million dollars a year, which seems like a lot to me. But if there's a team that's going to pay a catcher
I'd
like
pay
that,
it.
I think it will be the Houston Astros.
Maybe.
Next up, Jurickson Profar.
Jurickson Profar, my favorite free agent. He can do everything. He can do whatever he wants. He can play baseball. He can play hockey. He can pitch. He can catch. He can do whatever. Uh, I think he's gonna go to a team that tried to get him last year. Not actually him, but they got a different version of him that they don't like anymore because he isn't good. And that's the Yankees. I think he's gonna go to the Yankees. He's gonna start at first base, third, and short. And he'll probably be a little helpful. He'll probably hit like 80 homers to the short porch, something like that.
You know what's a team that needs versatility? The Los Angeles Angels. I think Profar makes a lot of
Oh,
sense.
that's terrible.
No, they need a
That's
guy who can play
terrible.
all over the place, and you
That's
can.
terrible
Why is that terrible?
because they're gonna say he's their starting shortstop, and that's terrible.
They're gonna do that with someone else who should be playing shortstop.
Yeah, I know, but he should do that somewhere else.
I could really see the Angels going out and getting him. He's a guy that could play anywhere, and because they stink everywhere except for center field, right field, and DH slash the one pitcher, I think Profar makes sense on that team. What about Anthony Rizzo?
Anthony Rizzo is going to leave the Yankees because I'm kind of bored of that.
Interesting.
Because it's stupid. They're gonna be like, "Oh, Judd, why are you gonna leave me?" And they're gonna forget about him. He's probably not, but maybe. He's gonna go sign somewhere. He's gonna be the DH, or he can play first, whatever you want. I don't know why I said DH. He's good defensively. The other guy that's their current first baseman is gonna DH because he stinks defensively. He's gonna go to the Orioles. They're gonna put a big bat
Well,
in their lineup. What? What are we yelling about?
do you not know how good Ryan Mountcastle was defensively this year? He was better than Rizzo defensively.
No, I know, but I was making a joke. Remember when Ryan Mountcastle played the outfield? How bad he was.
Oh yeah, I got you.
Yeah. Um, but yeah. So I don't know. I like it. I would like him on the Orioles. He can
Yeah.
still play at Yankee Stadium, hit homers. They'll be all angry because he's Italian. He's got to play for us. But he's gonna play for the Orioles. He's gonna be real good.
Yeah. So I don't know where the podcast went off the rails and Pat started doing impressions and stuff, but I do think Rizzo will come back to the Yankees, sadly. But I think there's a world where we could see a reunion. Could see him on the Cubs.
Not going to the Cubs.
I don't know. I could see it. Especially
Cubs
if they
stink.
bring in some big names.
They
Make
stink.
it a little bit more enticing, especially because the Brewers seem like they want to trade away Corbin Burns and Willie Adames. So maybe the Cubs will have a easy spot in the second place in that division.
Hey, you know what? Red Sox should trade their whole team for those two.
Yeah, sure.
Anyways,
Last two guys we're going to talk about because we are running short on time.
no, we
Andrew
got like
Benintendi and
three.
Jose Abreu.
Got three more. Yeah,
Andrew Benintendi and Jose
we got
Abreu.
more. Andrew Benintendi, I have as the sympathy signing of the offseason for the Angels. They get someone to help them miss the playoffs and win 77 games. He'll probably be pretty good. He could be bad. He does like to do that sometimes. But more often than not, I think he'll have a good year for them. And he's gonna get paid. He's gonna be there for a minute.
Which is weird because everyone's saying he's going to get Nimmo money. He doesn't deserve Nimmo money. He is not as good as Brandon Nimmo. He had a good year this year, but he wasn't as good as Brandon Nimmo this year. He wasn't as good as Brandon Nimmo last year. He hasn't been as good as Brandon Nimmo in his career. And I will say
Yeah.
something. I got a weird one here. I don't think you're going to like this one because I think he signs a weird contract because right now I don't think he's worth $20 million a year. But I think in a few years, if he really proves himself, he could because he's still pretty young. So I think he signs a team-friendly deal with a lot of options because that's how they run with the Tampa Bay Rays. I think he could be the guy that they're looking for. And I would love to see Andrew Benintendi in Tampa Bay.
Probably not.
Yeah,
Um,
probably no, probably not, but I'd love to see it. And how about Jose Abreu?
Jose Abreu, this is my favorite pick of the entire thing, because he gets to go DH somewhere,
Hmm,
and you know where I want him to go do that?
where's
I
that?
want him to do that in Cleveland.
Ooh,
That would be spectacular.
I would love to see him there. I think, which is crazy, I had Cleveland as my pick too. I thought that was going
Yeah,
to be like shocker pick, but yeah, no, Jose Abreu to Cleveland. I
no,
think the Cubs definitely are in the running. I think the Cardinals could be in the running.
I
Um,
shouldn't go there. Mitch Haniger, I could see him signing and being the new right fielder for the Atlanta Braves.
Here's one I got with Mitch Haniger. Call me crazy on this, but here's a team that's looking for another bat if they really want to make a run. That is the St. Louis Cardinals. I'd love to see Mitch Haniger in St. Louis. I think he could be a great addition to their lineup.
Oh
Playing,
wait, I figured out the name.
yeah,
Conforto. Conforto the Twins. They need an outfielder.
Conforto
Uh,
to the Chicago White Sox.
oh, I hope not. And Josh Bell to the Rangers. Get another bat in the lineup, switch hitter, he'll DH. That'll be fun.
Josh Bell to the Houston Astros. And one more.
More?
Masataka
Do we still
Yoshida.
have another one? Oh yeah, I had him. I was really excited about that one because I was like, hey, let's do a team that doesn't usually sign free agents. So I would like him to go to Houston.
Okay, I've got Masataka Yoshida going to the San Francisco Giants. Wouldn't I would love to see him there. I think he would tear it
Yeah,
up
probably
in
not.
the
I
area.
think he'll go to Houston.
Okay. Well, that's all we have for you today, free agency. I know it's a little bit of an unconventional episode. We had some interesting predictions, but that's all we have. Make sure to stick around. We got trade predictions coming up. We have other off-season related stuff coming up. So stick around and we'll be back soon. Thanks for listening.